afternoon, boys and girls. Welcome to another hard-hitting episode of the Callous Mind Talking Head Sportscast. We are live for a second consecutive Saturday, but I'm a little late today, so for anybody who was waiting, I do apologize. But considering I just set the live stream up today, there probably wasn't anyone waiting, so it's all good. I hope everybody out there had a great week, and I hope you have a great weekend, and let's jump in. So I want to start this week's video by reviewing the WildCard playoff round schedule. Los Angeles at Houston. Houston did defeat the Chargers, and I think I'd pick the Chargers in that game, so I missed that one. Pittsburgh at Baltimore. I believe I'd said that I thought Baltimore was going to win that game, but it depended on what Steelers team showed up, and the one that doesn't score hardly any points is the one that showed up, unfortunately for them. Then for Sunday, I believe I had Buffalo, I had Philly, and I had Tampa. So I lost this one right here, which this game right here was the one that cost me my parlay wager as well. It blew it out. But what I'd had was Buffalo, Philadelphia, Tampa, and the Rams. And so Tampa was the one that blew it. And that was kind of my fear in this game, was that if the Commanders can keep the game close, then they are a really, really dangerous team. And sometimes they're a dangerous team because they can keep the score close, or have been able to. I feel like that might change coming into this weekend, but I wanted to say a little bit about Minnesota and the Los Angeles Rams. I had talked to my friend Jason the other day and asked him who he had bet on, and he said he had bet on Minnesota, and I was like, oh man, why would you pick Minnesota? I told you last week I had a feeling that Minnesota would quote unquote shit the bed, and I think that's exactly what they did. But you got to give credit to the Rams, and I guess maybe the Rams are not just a paper tiger, but I feel like maybe Minnesota is. Maybe they're a regular season tiger, as it were, because it certainly seems to me like they haven't done well in the playoffs in recent times at all, right? So, all right, so let's look ahead here to the weekend that we're in now. And so the divisional round games. And so today we have Houston visiting the Kansas City Chiefs. And, you know, do I think that Houston could come in here and get this win? In the real world, yeah, I do. I think Houston could come in here and beat Kansas City if Kansas City has a down game, for sure. But we have a team traveling from west to a little more east, if you will. We have an indoor team coming to play outside in the weather, and the Kansas City Chiefs, according to this, are a 9-point favorite, and the two-time in a row, the back-to-back, I believe, Super Bowl champ here, and they're coming off of a week of rest. And I think the Chiefs just get it done here. I don't fear the Texans as being that team that can knock off the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think they're ready for that yet. Maybe sometime soon, but I don't think that's this season. So I will take the Kansas City Chiefs at home to get this win against the visiting Houston Texans. The next Saturday game here is the Washington Commanders at the Detroit Lions. And I probably won't be watching these games, or at least the night game, because I'll be watching that UFC pay-per-view. But looks like Detroit is an 8.5-point favorite over the Washington Commanders. And I feel like the Washington Commanders are good enough to eke by just about anybody. if they can keep the game close. But Detroit has, during the season, kind of toyed with people and then blown their doors off. And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen in this game. I'm saying that's what could happen in this game. But I'd said last week that I would like to see the Detroit Lions win the Super Bowl this year. And I stick by that. So I'm going to take the Detroit Lions at home here to get this win against the visiting Washington Commanders. Sunday's games start with the Los Angeles Rams visiting the Philadelphia Eagles. And I just don't think this is a real conducive game for the Rams to win here. It's the whole thing. It's a team traveling from west to east. It's a dome, warm weather team traveling from west to east to play outdoors in Philadelphia. And I don't doubt that the Rams are a decent team, that they're a pretty strong team. I'll tip my hat to them for sure. But I think that Philadelphia gets this win here because they're playing at home. And I think the elements favor Philly more so than they do the Rams. So I will, and the Philadelphia Eagles looks like here are 6.5 point favorites, which you know what? I'd probably take the Rams and those points if given those points, because I feel like it might be a pretty close game, 27-24, 30-27, 30-24, something like that. But I'm going to give the nod here to the Eagles to fly at home against the visiting Rams. And then on Sunday, the Baltimore Ravens head to the Buffalo Bills. And wow, that should be a heck of a game. According to the line in this game, Baltimore is a 1 point favorite, which is, woo, man, a visiting team to Buffalo in January being a favorite, color me shocked, I'll tell you what. But I think Buffalo is used to whatever the weather may throw at them. This place is going to be absolute bonkers. This should be one hell of a football game. But at the end of it, I think the Buffalo Bills get the win there. So I'm taking the Buffalo Bills at home to get the win against the visiting Baltimore Ravens. However, I do want to insert a couple of other things here. That imagine if the Houston Texans do beat the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens beat the Buffalo Bills, then that means Baltimore would host the AFC Championship game. Or if Buffalo beats Baltimore and Houston beats Kansas City, that means Buffalo would host the AFC Championship game. And wouldn't that be just a weather haven up there in Buffalo for the AFC Championship game all over again, man? It would return us to the days of Jim Kelly, So that would be pretty cool. All right, so before I even think about signing out today, I want to take a moment and just say rest in peace, Bob Uecker. I see that he had passed away, I believe it was on Thursday, at the age of 90. And for any of you youngsters who have never watched the movie Major League and you don't know who Bob Uecker is, then you should watch the movie Major League and find out exactly who Ueck was. He was a funny guy. He seemed to be a very genuine and authentic person. And the world is now less bright because Bob Uecker is gone. So rest in peace, Bob Uecker. I want to thank everyone for taking some time and spending it with me here today. I do sincerely appreciate it. I will try to go ahead and schedule something again for next weekend, because I think we're going to be home and I should be available to do another live stream. But until then, I hope you all will be good to yourselves and each other, and I will talk to you all again next week. God bless.